Hey everyone, and welcome to the week 1 overview. This week, we're going to be asking just 2 big questions that are going to help guide our study this semester. So our questions are, what is politics? And also, what is collective action? And as sort of a subset of that one, how does collective action matter for studying political science? So this week, as I've already hinted at, we're going to be looking at the basics of political science and how to study it. Now, political science as a science involves using the scientific method to explore the causes of certain phenomena. In this case, political events and institutions and phenomena related to politics. So we're going to look at methods for actually studying this later in the semester. But right now, it's just important to know that that's what we're doing. So what actually is this politics that political science studies? I want you to take a stab at answering that for yourself. When you want to find out the actual answer, you'll see some definitions on the required slides for this week. Now, some political science, as I've already indicated, is about developing these theories of causality. Sometimes that means these big overarching theories about why people everywhere do everything, basically. And sometimes that even involves creating sort of philosophies, right? There's a branch of political science that's a little less about observation and theory building in that sense, and a little bit more about philosophical theory building. That's political theory. And we aren't going to do all that much with political theory, but it's worth a very, very brief overview, which will happen today on the required slides and mini lectures. You'll see there's a video today about social contract, this week I should say, not today, this week on social contract theory. That's going to touch on political theory. Now, whether we're developing theories based on the scientific method or on rigorous applied philosophical methods, we are doing it to study how people do politics. And that's one of the things we learn from social contract theory. It doesn't observe what's been happening, but it says, well, if we could imagine this particular set of circumstances, we would expect this to happen. Then it goes, hey, actually, that's exactly what happens. Therefore, probably, sort of deductively, that must mean those circumstances occurred. And the reason I mention social contract theory, not that there aren't other political theories out there, is because it forms the basis of a lot of American government and our institutions. So you're definitely going to want to pay attention to learning about that, as it will keep coming up. Now, with that out of the way for now, we need to consider 5 principles of politics that can help us understand the Constitution, our government, and political behavior. You can find all 5 of these on our required slides for today and in the optional Lowy, Ginsburg, and Shepsel reading. Now, one of these principles is collective action. That is to say, all politics is collective action, right? Politics doesn't happen by one person in isolation, right? It is the interaction of a collective of people. And this semester, we are going to look a lot at different collective action problems and how we encounter them, how they sort of drive our politics, and how often our political institutions are created in order to solve these problems. 3 important ones we're going to encounter this semester are tragedy of the commons. In fact, we've got 2 short videos on that this week. The free rider problem and the prisoner's dilemma. So we will learn about the ways that institutions, like our government, can help solve these problems. And we are going to do a little activity with them next week. And so just when you're looking at the required slides and videos this week for that preview. Know that we will be returning to this again throughout the semester, including next week for our discussion. So, some big key takeaways from this week. Politics can be defined in many ways. At its most basic, we can think of it in Harold Lasswell's terms as the study of who gets what, when, and how. Collective action problems exist whenever people are trying to get things done. Institutions, both formal and informal, can help us solve these problems. Political science, then, is, in essence, the study of how people try to navigate and solve these problems. So, with that in mind, I encourage you to go look at the required lecture materials for this week. That's our slides and short little videos. And if you want more information on them, you can also look at the optional readings for the week. I look forward to meeting you all on our discussion board for the week, where we're not going to be talking about these ideas. We're going to be introducing ourselves. Have a great week 1, everyone.